Welcome back, my dear students. This is Mahbub Sultanahi, Senior Lecturer of Milestone College, Department of Biology. Today, I will discuss some few creative questions. In my previous class, I have also discussed two creative questions from where you have understood that how you will write creative question in your exam script or answer script. My today's first creative question is there is a given diagram. This is the stem, and regarding the stem, the question number C and D are given here. First question: what is thalassemia? The abnormal state of red blood cell is called thalassemia. This is from chapter 12. Now, my second question is write down the significance of BMI. You know, in case of writing the answer of this question, at first you will write what the definition of BMI. You will write what is BMI. The index it shows the ratio between height and weight of a person according to his or her weight is known as BMI. In calculating the BMI of a person, at first you have to calculate the weight in kg and the height in meter square. The rules is BMI is equal to weight by height square. That means you have to calculate this by kg and it is by meter square. But the BMI has no unit. Okay, now you are asked to write down the significance of BMI. So what you will write? You will write BMI indicates the health condition of a person. Whether the person is healthy or not, it can be determined by calculating the BMI. If the BMI has a standard value, if the BMI is above the standard level, then in that case, the person should reduce his or her weight by physical exercise, by dieting. But if the person has less BMI than that of the standard unit or a standard level, then he or she should take more food to gain weight. Okay, so this is the significance of BMI. Next question: explain the digestion process of bee as mentioned in the stem. Now, from the stem, you can see that what is indicated by B. You can see that the portion B, which is indicating by B, is known as stomach. This is from chapter 5. Now, from this question, you can understand is easily what you are asked to write. Okay, so first of all, you will explain or clarify what is indicated by B. When you will answer the question, at first you will write in the above stem, the organ that is indicated by B is stomach. Then you will write the digestion process in stomach. In that case, you will write only the portion of digestive system from your book, or digestion process from your book, where the digestion in stomach is given. So what will you write? You will write first when the food enters into the stomach, the inner wall of the stomach or secretes some gastric juice, or gastric gland secretes some gastric juice. Okay, this gastric juice contains different substances or the following substances. First of all, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, it kills the germs that comes with the food in the stomach. It also creates an acidic medium which helps in digestion. It also activates the inactive pepsinogen into active pepsin. So what is the function of this active pepsin? Now pepsin. Pepsin helps to convert the protein into polypeptide, which contains 2 or more amino acid. Then there is no enzyme of digestion of carbohydrate and fats in the stomach. So no digestion of carbohydrate and fat takes place in stomach. Due to continuous contraction and relaxation of the stomach, the food that are present in the stomach, it undergoes chemical reaction also and turns into a soupy-like fluid which is known as chyme. Then from the stomach, the chyme enters into the duodenum or small intestine through the valve. Okay. Next question. C plays an important role in human body. Analyze. You know, this is the higher efficiency question. In this case also, you will all explain or clarify what is indicated by C. You can see that C is the diagram of pancreas. So how does pancreas plays an important role in digestion? In digestion, pancreas is a mixed gland, you know that. So what is mixed gland? At first you will write the indicated organ that is mentioned in the C is pancreas. Pancreas helps in digestion by the following ways. Then you will write pancreas is a mixed gland which secretes both the enzymes and hormones. Then you will write which hormones or which enzymes are secreted by pancreas. First of all, you will write that pancreas secretes amylase, trypsin, lipase. Okay, these enzymes. So, these enzymes, amylase, take first in digestion of carbohydrate. It converts the starch or carbohydrate into glucose. After writing this point, you will simply write that carbohydrate then you will give an arrow. You can write amylase and here you will write glucose. Okay, so how carbohydrate, then give an arrow, put an arrow, and above the arrow you will write amylase enzyme, then the glucose. Similarly, in point number 2 you can write in presence of or with the help of enzyme trypsin, the half digested protein that is polypeptide, it transforms into amino acid. And finally, with the help of enzyme lipase, the fats or lipids converts into fatty acid and glycerol. Moreover, pancreas also secretes two hormones. One is insulin and another one is glucagon, which helps to maintain the balance of glucose in blood sugar. But this is not the point of digestion. This point is essential or important in case of explaining why pancreas is known as mixed gland. So you can avoid that point, but you have to write all those points that I have discussed just before this. Okay, so these are the answers, or this will be the answer of this creative question. Now creative question number 2. You can see in this question also there are some figures given. First of all, the knowledge-based question and comprehensive question. The first knowledge-based question is, what is universal donor? The people of blood group O is known as universal donor. You can define the definition in this way. The people of the blood group which can donate their blood to the people of all other blood groups, that is known as they are known as universal donor. The people of blood group O are known as universal donor. Next, the comprehensive question, why cellulose is known as hydrophilic substance. You know what is hydrophilic substance? The substances which has an affinity or which have an affinity to water is known as hydrophilic substance. That means this substance have an attraction to absorb the water. So in the second you will write, hence cellulose has an affinity to absorb water. That is why cellulose is known as hydrophilic substance. In creative number C, which is applied based question, in this question you can see that the above mentioned process of figure A is a necessary evil for plants? Explain. So what will be the answer? My dear students, you can see in figure number A, there is a plant. A branch of that plant is surrounded or covered by a polybag. Inside the polybag, you can see there are some dots which indicates the water droplets. So, what does the above mentioned process or this process is called? This is transpiration. You know what is transpiration? The physiological process through which the excess water come out from the or is coming out from the plants or different aerial parts of the plant in the form of water vapor is called transpiration. You know there are three types of transpiration: lenticular, cuticular, and stomatotrospiration. Okay, these are the types of transpiration. Now, why it is known as, or this transpiration process is known as necessary evil for plants? In writing this, the answer of this question, at first you have to mention the positive sides of transpiration. So, what are the positive points regarding transpiration? Transpiration helps to absorb water in plants, which is very much essential for different metabolic activities in plants. Number two, along with the plants, the different kinds of mineral salts is coming out and it reaches to different parts of the leaves. It also helps to resist the fungal infection. Number three, transpiration helps to maintain the temperature of plants. Transpiration also helps to absorb water, which ultimately helps in osmosis and which results in photosynthesis. Now, though transpiration has lots of positive aspects or beneficial aspects, it has some negative points also. So, what are the negative sides of transpiration? Excess transpiration is harmful for plants. In winter, the transpiration remain as same as the other seasons. So, if any plant sheds its leaf, if the transpiration in that case is remain in same condition, the plant may die. So, excess transpiration is not positive for plants. It is very much harmful for plants. The plants may die also for this reason. So, hence, transpiration has some beneficial aspect and it has some negative effects also. That is why scientist Curtis named the transpiration process is a necessary evil for plants. Okay. Next, the last question, analyze the differences in between B and C as mentioned in the stem. You can see in the stem B and C, both of these indicates blood vessels. But in case of B, you can see the passage through the blood vessel is narrow, which indicates it is artery. And in case of diagram C or figure C, you can see the lumen or the passage inside the blood vessel is wider, which indicates it is vein. You are asked to write the differences in between artery and vein. Now, what will be the answer or how you will write the answer? You will first write in the above stem B and C indicates the artery and vein respectively. The differences in between artery and vein is given below. Then you will make a chart in this way. You can write the characteristics, then artery, and then vein. The first point, the definition. So what will you write in case of writing the definition? You will write the blood vessel that carries blood from the heart to different parts of the body is known as artery. So what is vein? the blood vessels that carry blood from different parts of the body to the heart is known as vein. You can see the wall of the artery. This is the wall of the artery. The wall of the artery is thick, but the wall of the vein is thin. In case of artery, the lumen, what is the innermost passage through which the blood flows, it is narrow. So the second point will be the thickness of the wall. The third point will be the lumen. In case of artery, you will write the lumen is narrow. In case of vein, you will write the lumen is wider. In case of artery, the blood speed of blood is higher in artery. The speed of blood is lower in the vein. Next, in the artery, you can see in the artery there is another differences in between artery and vein, that is valve. In case of artery, there is no valve. So next point will be valve. In artery, you will write valve is absent. In vein, you will write valve is present. But here is an exception. So the next point will be exception. The pulmonary artery will be exception because it carries the deoxygenated blood from lungs to heart for purification. And in case of vein, there is also an exception, that is pulmonary vein. Generally, vein carries blood from different parts of the body, and that is carbon dioxide emission blood. But in case of pulmonary vein, it carries oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium. So these two are the exceptions. Then generally, artery carries oxygenated blood. The point will be nature of blood. The artery carries oxygenated blood and the vein carries deoxygenated blood. My dear students, you have seen that I have already discussed near about 8 to 9 points. So for a good mark, you have to mention all those points or all the differences that I have discussed in this class, and you will write the answer in this format: characteristics, artery and vein. So this is all about regarding this creative question. Now creative question number 3. You can see here is an equation given. In this equation, you can see carbohydrate plus oxygen. There are two arrows in between this, the equation in between left and right side of the equation. In the left side, here carbohydrate and oxygen. In the right side of the equation is carbon dioxide, water and ATP. Here are two arrow marks. One is from left to right and another is from right to left. The left to right, the equation indicates here the process is A, and the equation that is from right to left is indicated by B. So, my dear students, first of all, the knowledge-based question. What is CAN? You know, there are two methods of dark phase of photosynthesis. Okay, so in the dark phase, there are generally two methods that are mentioned in your book. But there is another method which is known as CAN. The two methods are C3 and C4 cycle, which are known as Calvin cycle and Hatch-Slack cycle respectively. Along with these two cycles, there is another cycle for the production of carbohydrate. And the full form of this cycle is CAM, which indicates the full form crassulacean acid metabolism. So you will write CAM, which indicates crassulacean acid metabolism cycle, which is one kind of process, or which is a process of carbohydrate production of photosynthesis or dark side phase. Then write down the differences in between DNA and RNA. You know what are the differences in between DNA and RNA. There are lots of differences in between DNA and RNA, but for comprehensive question you will write at least 4 points. The first point is the full form of DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid and the full form of RNA is ribonucleic acid. In case of DNA, the nitrogen bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. In case of RNA, the nitrogen bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. So you can see that in case of DNA, thymine is present. In case of RNA, instead of thymine, uracil is present. DNA carries gene, but RNA doesn't carry any gene. In case of DNA, the main function of DNA is it helps in heredity. But in case of RNA, it helps in protein synthesis. In case of answering this question, you can write or you can make a chart, characteristics, then DNA, and then RNA. Then you will write those 4 points that I have discussed right now. Now, number C. Explain the steps of process A which take place in mitochondria. My dear students, you can see the process that indicates the arrow which is from left to right side. In the left side, here is carbohydrate and oxygen. So, carbohydrate types of food when react with oxygen, that means it is oxidizing with the help of oxygen and producing carbon dioxide, water and ATP. This process is known as respiration. Now, respiration has 4 steps: glycolysis, formation of acetyl-CoA, Krebs cycle and electron transfer system. The former 2 steps are taking place in the, or there's 2 steps take place in the cytoplasm of a cell. So, what are the rest of the 2 phases? That is Krebs cycle and electron transfer system. These 2 cycles take place in the mitochondria of a cell. So, what is asked for? That is, explain the steps of the process A which take place in mitochondria. So, in case of answering this question, you will write at first the process A indicates respiration. The 2 steps of respiration which takes place in mitochondria are known as Krebs cycle and electron transfer system, which are described below. Then you will first write or explain Krebs cycle, and then later on you will explain or describe electron transfer system. Next, number D. Explain the comparison of the process A and B which take place in the above step. So my dear students, in answering this question, there is another arrow which is from right side to left side. So this process is B, that indicates when carbon dioxide and water, they combine together in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll and produce carbohydrate and oxygen. That is called photosynthesis. So what is indicated by A and B? Is it clear to all of you? A indicates respiration and B indicates photosynthesis. So in case of answering this question, you will write at first in the above step, A and B indicates respiration and photosynthesis respectively. The comparison of the differences in between photosynthesis and respiration is given below. Then again you will write this, or you will make a chart like this. First of all, characteristics, then photosynthesis, then respiration and photosynthesis. So first of all, the definition. You will write down the definition. The biochemical process through which the carbohydrate types of foods is oxidized with the help of oxygen and produce carbon dioxide, water and large amount of energy in presence of different enzymes and coenzymes is called respiration. So what will be the definition of photosynthesis? The biochemical process through which carbon dioxide, water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll produce carbohydrate types of food in plants or in green plants is known as photosynthesis. In case of photosynthesis, you can write the equation. Second point, equation. Then you will write the equation of respiration, and in the under photosynthesis you will write down the equation for photosynthesis. In third point, place of occurrence. Photosynthesis, respiration takes place in the cytoplasm and mitochondria of a cell. In case of photosynthesis, it takes place in leaves or green parts of a plant or chloroplast. Directly you can write chloroplast. Then the next point, in case of respiration, large amount of energy is produced. In case of along with carbon dioxide and water. In case of photosynthesis, carbohydrate and oxygen are produced. In case of photosynthesis, what are the catalysts? In case of respiration, is different enzymes and coenzymes. In case of photosynthesis, sunlight, chlorophyll, these are the catalysts, or these acts as a catalyst. Photosynthesis takes place, respiration takes place both in plants and animals. Photosynthesis takes place only in plants. During throughout the whole day, respiration takes place, but photosynthesis generally takes place in daytime. It takes place exactly during the daytime because sunlight is essential for photosynthesis. Then you can also write the products. I have mentioned in case of photosynthesis what will be the product, and in case of respiration what will be the products. So these all are the differences in between photosynthesis and respiration. My dear students, you can see there are different types of creative questions that are given after each chapter in your book. You can practice all those creative questions, and if you have any confusion, you can ask your subject teacher. I think if you practice all those creative questions which are given in your book, it will be more clear to all of you. In my next class, I will be back with a new lesson. Till then, remain safe and take care.